They say betrayal doesn't always come from strangers, it comes from the people you'd take a bullet for. I used to laugh at that line, thinking it was just another dramatic quote floating around the internet, but the night my own family turned on me, I understood exactly what it meant. My name's Evan, I'm 27 years old, and if you asked any of my friends, they'd probably describe me as the responsible one. I'm the guy who pays bills before the due date, remembers birthdays without needing Facebook reminders, and somehow always ends up being the designated driver after a night out. I don't say that with pride, it's simply who I am. Stability is my comfort zone, responsibility has always been my armor. But in my family, responsibility doesn't earn respect, it earns exploitation. My younger brother, Liam, he's 23, has lived his entire life as my opposite. Where I'm cautious, he's reckless. Where I plan, he gambles. He's got this natural charm that convinces people to excuse his mistakes, and every consequence that should have landed on his shoulders somehow rolled onto mine instead. From childhood, it was like he carried an invisible shield, and I was the unlucky one who had to absorb the blows. I remember bringing home an A- once. My parents looked at me with disappointment, reminding me I could do better. Meanwhile, Liam scraped by with a C in the same class, and Mom praised him as though he just discovered fire. I used to convince myself it was because they didn't want to discourage him, but as we got older, that pattern calcified. If he forgot to pay his car insurance, I bailed him out. If he borrowed money and never repaid it, Mom would pat my hand and whisper, "Be the bigger person, sweetheart. You've always been so stable." Translation: cover for him, again. Last weekend, everything spiraled. I had just dragged myself home after a brutal week, 12-hour shifts, 3 looming deadlines, and barely any sleep. I tossed my wallet and keys onto the kitchen table, grabbed a glass of water, and collapsed into bed. I didn't think twice about leaving my credit card out. Why would I? It was just the two of us in the house, and I'd been careless with it before without issue. When I woke up, something felt off. My wallet looked thinner. My chest tightened as I flipped it open. The card was gone. At first, I thought maybe I'd left it in my jacket or my car, but then I heard music blaring from Liam's room. Not just music, laughter, loud, victorious laughter. I knocked, and he opened the door with a grin stretched across his face. "What's up, big bro?" he said, casual as ever. I asked if he'd seen my card. He didn't deny it, he didn't even hesitate. "Oh yeah," he said, leaning against the frame like this was normal. "I borrowed it, don't worry, just bought a few things." My jaw clenched. A few things? That's when he whipped out his phone, scrolling through photos with smug pride, designer clothes, new shoes, a flashy watch, even screenshots of plane tickets to Miami. "Gotta treat yourself sometimes, right?" he said, quoting it like a cheap motivational poster. "You maxed out my card?" My voice cracked sharper than I intended. He shrugged, utterly unfazed. "Relax, it's not the end of the world, you make good money, you'll pay it off in no time." Then he laughed. I didn't, I just stood there, numb, as years of cleaning up his messes pressed down on me all at once. Before I could unload the words I'd been swallowing for years, the front door slammed. Dad's voice boomed through the house. "Who stole my $20,000? The air seemed to crack open. Liam's grin evaporated. Dad stormed into the hallway, his face red, eyes scanning us like a predator hunting prey. Mom appeared, wringing her hands nervously. Dad's voice was low but dangerous as he explained, "The safe he checked that morning was empty, $20,000 gone." My pulse thundered. That wasn't just money, that was life-altering. Before I could speak, Liam jumped in. It wasn't me. Too fast, too defensive. Dad's eyes narrowed. "Then why are you dressed like you robbed a boutique?" I glanced at Liam. He was still wearing that brand new jacket, tags barely off. His excuse stumbled out. I had savings." I almost laughed. Liam couldn't save $5 without blowing it on takeout, but I stayed quiet. I already knew how this would play out. Mom stepped in, her voice soft and soothing. "Maybe you misplaced it. You know how forgetful you can be." Dad exploded. "Misplaced 20,000? Are you hearing yourself?" His eyes landed on me. "Where were you today?" "At work," I said carefully. Check my timesheets if you don't believe me. He studied me, weighing my words, then his gaze shifted back to Liam, but Liam gave Mom that wide-eyed innocent look he'd perfected since childhood. Predictably, she shielded him. He said he's been saving, she insisted. I couldn't hold back anymore. Saving? Really? He maxed out my credit card today. Clothes, shoes, plane tickets. I saw the receipts on his phone. Mom's head whipped toward me like I'd broken some unspoken rule. Evan, don't exaggerate. I'm sure he planned to pay you back. He didn't even ask, I said, and now Dad's money is gone. You're seriously going to call this coincidence? Liam sneered, dripping fake hurt. Wow, way to throw me under the bus. I thought we were brothers. Brothers don't steal from each other, I snapped. Enough, Dad roared. This isn't about your card, Evan. This is about my money. And in that moment, I realized, it didn't matter what proof I had. The verdict was already written. With Mom shielding Liam, I was destined to take the fall. That night at dinner, the tension sat heavy like a storm cloud. Dad's jaw was locked. Mom filled the silence with small talk. Liam? He laughed, bragging about Miami, listing clubs and hotels. Must be nice, I muttered. He smirked. It is. Later, Dad pulled me aside. If you took the money, just say so, we can work something out. You really think it was me? I whispered. His sigh was the answer. Something snapped inside me. I wasn't just angry anymore, I was done. The next day, my worst fear came true. My room had been ransacked, drawers yanked open, closet rifled, bed overturned, my emergency cash envelope, about $1,000 I'd scraped together through side gigs, was gone. I confronted Liam. His smirk told me everything. Oh, that? Yeah, I found it. Needed extra for the trip. Don't worry, I left you something. When I checked my backpack, a single $5 bill sat at the bottom. I lost it. You broke into my room, stole everything, and you think this is okay? Relax, he said. You were going to spend it eventually. I just sped things up. Mom appeared, already annoyed at me. What's going on now? He stole my money, I said. My emergency fund. That was mine, Mom. If he took it, I'm sure he had a good reason, she said softly. Your brother doesn't have the same opportunities you do. I nearly laughed. Opportunities? He blows every chance he gets. Dad's booming voice cut us off. Enough. If you two can't stop fighting, one of you leaves. The implication was clear, and the look in his eyes told me exactly who that one was. That was the night I stopped being the responsible one. I packed my bags quietly the next morning. No yelling, no slamming doors, just cold silence. Mom hovered in the doorway, guilt flickering across her face. You don't have to be so cold about it, she whispered. You believed him over me without hesitation, I said. I've never stolen anything in my life, but you trusted him instead. She didn't answer. Liam lounged on the porch, sipping coffee like a king. Safe travels, he called smugly as I walked past. I didn't reply. That night, I crashed on a friend's couch. For the first time in my life, I felt untethered, cast out of my own home, accused of being a thief, humiliated. But as I stared at the ceiling in that unfamiliar living room, something shifted. Clarity. I pulled out my phone and started a list, not of revenge, not yet, but of everything Liam had taken from me. My card charges, my stolen cash, the laptop he borrowed and never returned, the tools he sold from the garage. Then another list. Every time my parents had blamed me for his mistakes, every time I was told to be the bigger person. Looking at those lists side by side, something hardened in me. This wasn't just about money, this was about years of being gaslit and scapegoated. And I decided, if they wanted to paint me as the villain, then maybe it was time they finally learn what the villain was capable of. If you were in my place, cast aside by your own blood, would you fight back, or walk away forever? Tell me in the comments what choice you would make, and don't forget to subscribe for more twisted true life stories that make you question trust, loyalty, and the very meaning of family.